And welcome to the stream. Thanks for the no audio one there, Paul. It's the Schumann resonance I'm playing, so it may not be audible. It's a very low frequency, the frequency of our Earth. But I'll check. Share screen here. Possibly, Paula. Let's give you guys a listen to the Schumann resonance. It's very good for you, very relaxing. Let's see who we've got in chat here. We have James Ortiz. Hi, how you doing? Everything's a psyop, Paula. Good stuff. That's a good start. So we're here to do the Norse creation myth. Kind of continuing in our recent talks of late about the Earth and its creation. Dragon Earth, as I was talking about before. Kind of cloudy there. Got any haze on me. Now I can hear you. Okay. So what I was going to do is I was just going to play a quick little video of the Norse creation story. It says there's nobody watching. So, thank you, YouTube algorithms. So let's go to that and we'll watch it. It's kind of a cartoon version. I haven't had much. I haven't even listened to this one. It might have been one of the ones I listened to before. Maybe why I pulled this one up. Big screen. Hi, Max. Need some loving, do you?
In the time just after creation, there were three forms to existence. To the south was Muspel, a land of eternally raging flame.
Can you guys hear that?
To the north
I'm
was
not getting much sound.
a desolate and frozen tundra. And in between the fire and the ice was a great nothingness, an emptiness known as Genungia. At Niflheim's center, there came a great swelling of water from below, from which the spring Felgenmir was birthed, which in turn gave birth to 11 rivers. The rivers winded across the land, eventually taking them to Niflheim's edge, where they became great waterfalls that cascaded into the river. But before
It's
so
really
much
low
as
audio?
could separate from the stream, the biting cold of the Niflheim winds froze the falls solid. Again and again, the spring Felgenmir
Stop that. Go back to the beginning and I'll read it because they do have the written version on the bottom there, so we can do that. Okay.
In the time just after creation,
In the time just after
there were three
creation,
forms
there
to
existed.
existence.
There were three forms
To
to
the south
existence.
was Muspel,
To the south was the Muspel, a land of eternal raging flame.
a land of eternally raging flame. To the north
To
was
the north was Niflheim, a desolate and frozen tundra. Next, no. Let me read this first.
Niflheim, a desolate and frozen tundra, and in between the fire
And in between the fire and the ice
and
was the
the
great
ice
nothingness,
was a great
the
nothingness,
Gungan.
an emptiness known as Gununggan. At Niflheim's center,
At Nephilim's center, there was there came a great swelling of water from below,
came a great swelling of water from below, from which the spring filled
from which the spring Hevgirmile was birthed, which in turn gave birth to 11 rivers.
which in
This
turn
is like
gave
the story
birth
I
to
want.
11 rivers. The rivers winded across the
Wind
land,
rivers crossed the land, eventually
Nephilim's
taking them
edge.
to the
They
Nephilim's
became
edge,
great waterfalls
where they became great waterfalls that cascaded into the Gungan.
that cascaded into Gununggan. But before so much
But
as a
before
drop
so much as a drop could separate from the stream,
separate from the stream, the biting cold of the
the
Niflheim
biting cold of the Niflheim winds, froze the falls solid.
froze the falls solid. Again and again,
Again and again, the springs of Hevgirmire broke through the ice,
spring of Helga broke through the ice,
rebirthing the 11 rivers, which would freeze once more.
In this way,
In this way, layer by layer, Niflheim inched out into the Gungan.
layer by layer, Niflheim inched out into
I
Gununggan.
like this word.
Niflheim grew ever outward.
Niflheim grew outwards, and in time, the heat from the flames of Muspel began to reach it.
Flames of Muspel began to reach it. Water began to roll.
Water began to roll down its icy face,
becoming droplets.
became droplets that dripped steadily into the darkness.
In the temperate emptiness, the
The
droplets
temperate emptiness, the droplets came together,
came together, and life fostered for the first
and life fostered for the first time. I'm going to pause here for a moment because this is an interesting point. The waters, in the waters, we were talking the other day of the dragon possibly being born in a world of water, and not even a world. If the universe or the area that it inhabited had no life, and all it had was water, and sprang forth from the waters, the life, the dragons or whatever, they could exist in this water plane, pretty much, until they became the planets later on. And that's why I wanted to go to the Norse mythology about this, because they talk about this in this way. So in the waters, there was no land, there was nothing. It was just the waters. And life fostered for the first time.
in the form of
the frost giant, Ymir.
The ice continued to
The ice continued to melt, and the droplets came together once more.
melt, and the droplets came together once more to give life to the primordial,
primordial bovine, Audemau. Audemala drew sustenance from the salty ice of Niflheim.
And Ymir in
turn drew his nourishment from the milk of Aldemau's udder.
As Ymir slumbered,
he sweat.
And
And from his sweat he bore the first three giants.
a woman and a man.
From under his left armpit.
And from between his
And
closed
from between
legs, a man with
his closed legs, a man with 6 heads. I love the symbology here. There's quite a lot to unpack in the Norse mythology with their symbology. I love that it rhymes too, but yeah, let's
with
go on.
6 heads. As Audemla continued
As Aldemala continued to lick at the ice, it slowly gave way.
to look at the ice, it slowly gave way, and by first day's
And by first day's close, the hair of a man was revealed.
close, the hair of a man was revealed. By the second,
By the second, his head. So it's interesting. We have Ymir being formed in the waters, but we have this man being formed in the ice. Kind of a stark difference. Again, we're just unpacking this bit by bit.
its head. And by the third,
And by the third day,
entire
his entire body.
this man was named Buri.
This man was, sorry, what's that? This man was named Buri.
This man was named Buri. Buri had a son.
Buri had a son named Bor. Doesn't say who the mother was.
named Bor. When Bor had
When
grown,
Bor had grown, he was wed to a daughter of the frost giant Balthor. Maybe that's who his father had. So,
he was wed to a daughter of the frost giant Bolthor. They had 3 sons.
they had 3 sons, each one as human as they were giant.
Each one as human as they were
So
giant.
here are the humans.
They were named Vili,
They were named Vil, Odin, and Ve.
Odin, and Ve.
So from the
As
giants
3
came
brothers
they.
grew, they watched
As the 3 brothers grew, they watched the frost
the
giants
frost giants. They saw their cruel and
and saw their cruel and mean-spirited nature.
mean-spirited nature. And as they grew,
As they grew, so did an ever-deepening resentment towards the race of giants.
so did an ever-deepening resentment toward the race of giants. One day,
One day, Vil, Odin, and Ve came to Ymir with murderous intent.
Ve came to Ymir with murderous intent and killed Ymir where he stood.
And killed Odin, murderous intent, and killed Ymir where he stood.
A great geyser of
A great geyser of blood shot from Ymir's wounds,
blood shot from Ymir's wounds, engulfing Niflheim.
engulfing Nephilim in raging torrents of red. Niflheim,
Raging torrents of red, which swept away
and drowned every frost giant. So we have the
drowned
flooding.
every frost giant. Every giant except for Belgamir and his wife. Maybe that was Nimrod. Was it Nimrod? Stories of one giant who, King Og, or Nebuchadnezzar. One of those 2 survived the flood. for Bergamir, his wife, who managed to escape
death, the gutted body
dead
of an
tree.
old dead tree.
The 3 brothers
The
then
3 brothers then brought Ymir to Niflheim's edge.
brought Ymir to Niflheim's edge and tossed his corpse
into the Gunganap. So here we have 3 brothers throwing Ymir, or Tiamat, maybe, if you want to cross the stories and try to get greater understanding, into the Gunganap.
into Gunungagap. It was in this dark
It was in the darkness that Ymir's muscle, sinew, and skin were transmuted to earth.
that Ymir's muscle, sinew, and skin were transmuted
It was in this darkness that
to earth.
so we can see that his bones were plucked from within
and placed in Gunungagap.
and placed in Gunganap, where they floated around his body.
Where they
So they're saying that his bones were ripped out from the soft flesh, and this is amazing. The correlation
around his
is
body.
astounding.
His largest and most
His largest and most intact bones were used to form the mountains.
intact bones were used to
So
form the
creatures falling
mountains,
to the earth.
and any smaller bones
Any smaller bones that were left over were cast down upon the
that
earth,
were left over were cast down upon the earth, where they became every kind
where
of
they became every kind of stone, rock, and boulder that can be known.
stone, rock, and boulder that can be known. The blood that drained into
The blood that
Gunungaga
drained
was
into
gathered
Gungadap was gathered and channeled to create the
and
sea
channeled to
and
create the
lakes and
sea,
rivers.
the lakes, and the rivers. And Ymir's skull
And
was
Ymir's
lowered
skull was
over the
lowered
earth
over the earth to become the sky. Beautiful imagery.
to become the sky, which would be held up by
Which
four
would be
dwarfs,
held up by four dwarves named North, South, East, and West.
named North, South, East, and West. The brothers then
The
traveled
brothers then traveled
to
to
each
Muspel
gather a handful of brilliant
to each gather a handful of brilliant embers.
embers. They tossed the
They
embers
tossed the
into the
embers into
void
the
in
void
order to better light the world they had made.
in order to better light the world they had made.
And in doing so, they gave
In
birth
doing so, they gave birth to the sun, the moon, and the stars.
to the sun, the moon, and the stars. They then set upon
They set
Ymir's
up
brain,
Ymir's. Then
hurling
they
it
set
in
up Ymir's
chunks
brain,
high
hurling
into
it
the sky,
in chunks
where they became
to
any
the sky,
cloud
where they
that can
became the clouds that can be known.
be known. The brothers then
The
used
brothers then used Ymir's brow to form a great mountainscape,
Ymir's brow to form a great mountainscape, which acted as a
barrier to cut Jotunheim, the land of the giants, off from the rest of the world.
barrier to cut Jotunheim,
I
the
wonder
land
if
of
that could be the ice wall, maybe.
giants, off from the rest of the
Various
world.
mountain range.
One day,
One day, Vili, Odin, and Ve walked by the shore.
they were walking by the shore when they happened upon
When they happened
two uprooted
upon two uprooted trees.
trees, one an ash, the
One
other
an ash, the other elm.
an elm. And in a moment of divine
And in a moment of divine inspiration, the young gods were compelled to form
inspiration, the young gods were compelled to form these trees
into the shape of their own likeness. So here we cross over again into the creation story. These young human gods creating
to the shape of their own
likeness.
These were the first.
These were the first humans.
Odin breathed into
Odin
life.
breathed life into them.
Sound and sight
Sound and sight were gifted by Ve.
And lastly, Vili gave
the power of higher thought.
The power of higher thought and of a strong heart. This is how humans
and the world they inhabited came to be.
And the world they inhabit came to be. And it will remain here for
a time until the cosmic boughs of Yggdrasil,
time, under the cosmic boughs of Yggdrasil, until the moment that creation devours
itself again and is reborn once again. So the Taurus field, ever feeding in and out,
itself and is reborn once again,
recycling everything over and over. Nice. So, what did you guys think of the Norse creation story, Norse mythology? I like the crossovers into different mythologies that it mirrors, with the creation of man and the gods doing it, and the stories in the Bible of the first, and then the second creation of man. Sumerian creation of man being done by drunk gods who making a lot of mess ups. cosmic space tree of the Norse, right, B. Freeman? Hey, how you doing, B. Freeman? Good to see you here. So I like the crossovers of these stories, the parts of them that mirror each other, but they do it in different ways that when I was looking at those two trees too, that they fashioned man out of, when they had the root system and the foliage on top, it really made me think of um, light. Because if you took one of those trees and flipped it, you would have almost a checkerboard symbol, which is representation of light uh, for like the Masons. But there were so many interesting things. I find the skull part of it, skull being used for the sky, as a perplexing part of it. I don't know how to rectify that one, but hey Zoe, how you doing? I just missed the reading of the Norse creation story. The great Gunganap and Ymir mirroring Tiamat and others in the stories. Creation consumed itself, yeah, in a way. It comes back on itself forever and ever. They do have a beginning point, which is interesting, but they don't have a big bang. No big bang in that creation story. But I like the primordial waters that they talk about. That was one of the most interesting points for me because of the discussion of the earth and what it is. If it's a dragon, how did it get there? But by the creation story of the Nordics, these Scandinavian stories, we can see that they say that one time there was an area that was just water, and that's where Ymir was created. And that could be how the dragons and other life came to be. They could have been born in the waters, as many religions do say. That life comes from the waters, and we are the waters. The reference of us being the waters, especially in the Bible, mankind's representation. Any thoughts or comments? I don't know if Zoe wasn't here to hear the story, so. But have you heard the story of creation told by the Norse or the Scandinavian, Zoe? Sorry, guys, it's Timbit time. Very strange things under the water. Interesting. I find it weird to figure out too, Paula, but I do find points of it useful. You know, the points that I do understand are quite useful. But the story in itself, how it evolves and goes, is very appropriate to the story of how the Earth got here. And its formation. Now, there must have been other creatures that formed other planets, but just talking of the Earth specifically, I think it's very interesting that we may live on a planet that was born out of water instead of being born like a creature being born on another planet. Do you know the Nordic or Scandinavian tale of creation? You're part Nordic. Yeah, the levels and worlds, and they are psychedelic. But a lot of that, I think, is to do with torus field technology and deeper understandings of things that you still have to decipher because they wrote on so many levels. You could read that story and just think it's a bunch of claptrap because it's so convoluted and different. But there's meaning in almost every word that they use. I couldn't find a very good written version of it in the original interpretation, but there are many interpretations out there. The Apache story of creation. Let's take a look. Let's take a look. Let's see. Tab. And I wonder if the difficulty in finding a good version has anything to do with them not wanting us to understand that type of knowledge. And some of it's very scientific, which leads us to technologies. Technologies are, let's see. Okay, so it looks like it is. Well, let's see if I can shoot that down. Zoom in. Let's see, let's give it a little read. In the beginning, there was nothing, no earth, no living beings. There were only darkness, water, and cyclone. That also is very reminiscent of the vortex of water coming up in the Norse. And the wind. There were no humans, but only Hactison, Hactikin, and well, Josarilla, supernatural beings. The Hactison made the earth, the underworld beneath them, and the sky above. The earth they made as a woman, Tiamat was a female, the earth they made as a woman who faces upward. Tiamat's face is facing outward. And the sky they made as a man who faces downward. That's interesting, the positive and the negative, good, evil, maybe. The Haxin lived in the underworld where there was no light. There were mountains and plants in the underworld. And each had its own Haxin. Yet there were no animals or humans, and everything in the underworld existed in like a dream state. It was spiritual and holy. That's reminiscent of Blavatsky's theory of the ethereal man being more of a spirit than a body, as we are now. The most powerful of the Hacketsin in the underworld was Black Hacketsin. Sorry, I'm butchering that word, I'm sure. One day, Black Hacketsin made the first animal with 4 legs and a tail made of clay. Okay. The tail made of clay. That's like the man with gold in his gold on his head and clay on his feet, and various metals in between. At first, he thought it looked peculiar, But when he asked it to walk and saw how gracefully it walked, he decided it was good. Knowing this animal would be lonely, he made many other animals, many other kinds of animals, come from the same body of the first. He laughed to see the diversity of the animals that he created. All the animals wanted to know what to eat and where to live, so he divided the foods among them, giving grass to the horse, sheep, and cow. To the others he gave bush, leaves, pine needles. He sent them out to different places, some of the mountains, some to the deserts, some to the plains, which is why the animals are found in different places today. Next, Black Hackason held out his hand and caught a drop of rain. Interesting. He mixed some. He mixed this with some earth to make mud, and made a bird from the mud. At first, he wasn't sure he would like what he made. He asked the bird to fly, and when it did, he liked it. He decided the bird would be too lonely, so he grabbed it and whirled it rapidly, clockwise. As the bird became dizzy, it saw images of other birds. And when the black hyacinth stopped whirling it, there were indeed many new birds, new kinds of birds, all of which lived in the air because they were made from a drop of water that came from the air. Interesting. Black Hackason sent the birds out to find places they liked to live, and when they returned, he gave each. When they returned, he gave each the place that they liked. To feed them, he threw seeds all over the ground. To tease them, however, he turned the seeds into insects, and he watched as they chased after the insects. At a nearby river, he told the birds to drink. Again, however, he couldn't resist teasing them, so he took some moss and made fish and frogs and other things that live in the water. This frightened the birds as they came to drink, and is why the birds so often hop back in fright as they come down to drink. As some of the birds took off, their feathers fell in the water, and from them came the ducks and the other birds that live in the water. Black Hackason continued to make more animals birds. The animals and birds that already existed all spoke the same language, and they held a council. They came to Black Hackason and asked for a companion. They were concerned that he would be alone. When Black Hackason left them, and Black Hackason agreed to make something to keep them company, he stood facing the east, then the south, and then the west, and then the north. He had the animals bring him all sorts of material from across the land, and he traced his outline on the ground. Then he set the things they had brought him in the outline. The turquoise they had brought became veins. The red ochre became blood. The coral became skin. The white rock became bones. The Mexican opal became fingernails and teeth. The jet became pupil. The abalone became the white of the eyes. And the white clay became the marrow of the bones. Pollen, iron ore, and water scum were used to Black Hackason used a dark cloud to make the hair. The man they had made was lying face down, and it began to rise. As the birds watched with excitement, the man arose from prone to kneeling, to sitting up, to standing. 4 times Black Hackason told him to speak, and he did. 4 times Black Hackason told him to laugh, and he did. It was likewise with shouting. Then Black Hackason taught him to walk, and had him run 4 times in a clockwise circle. Well, the numbers are very prominent. Yeah, I love the numerology in this. That's good. 3 times 4 is 12. The birds and the animals were afraid the man would be lonely in the circle, going in a circle. The birds and the animals were afraid the man would be lonely, and they lacked Hackason. Give him company. Black Hackason asked them for some lice, which he put on the man's head. The man went to sleep scratching, and he dreamed that there was a woman inside him. When he woke, she was there. Interesting. They asked Black Haxon what they would eat. He told them the plants, that the plants and the cloven-hooved animals would be their food. They asked where they should live. He told them to stay anywhere they liked, which is why the Gisarilla moved from place to place. These two ancestral man and ancestral woman had children, and the people multiplied. In those days, no one died, although they all lived in darkness. This lasted for many years. The Hackisons made a sun and moon, but they could only be seen through a hole in the dark sky. To solve the problem, White Hackison turned to the animals and had them bring the foods they ate. With the food and some sand and water, they began to grow a mountain. The mountain grew, but it stopped short of the hole in the sky that led from the underworld to the earth that we know. The Hackisons sent up Fly and Spider, who took 4 rays of the sun and built a rope ladder to the upper world. The Hackisons called for the people to climb up, and for 4 days they climbed the mountain. At the top, they found 4 ladders. Ancestral man and ancestral woman were the first people to climb up. This could be ascending the chakra system and understanding the stars. And the people climbed up into the upper world that we know today. Thus, the earth is our mother. And the animals came, an old man and old woman, and they couldn't climb the ladders. No one could get them up. And finally, the two realized they had to stay in the underworld. They agreed to stay, but told the others they must come back to the underworld eventually. This is why people go to the underworld after death. It's very beautiful. Everything in the upper world is alive. The rocks, the trees, the grass, the plants, the fire, the water. Originally, they all spoke the Gisarilla Apache language and spoke to people. Eventually, the people traveled out clockwise across the land. Different groups would break off and stay behind. And even their children would begin to play games in which they used odd languages. People in these groups began to forget their old languages and use the new ones, which is why now there are many languages. Only one group kept on traveling in the clockwise spiral, the Fibonacci power, until they reached the center of the world. And these are the Gisarilla Apaches. Beautiful story. Let's see what you commented here. Anybody want sausages? Okay. Only American zebras. Zebra burgers. Hi, Steve-O. How you doing? As foretold to us, the underworld creeps me out. I gotta stop dying. No, that's the process. We think we want to do that, but we don't. Yeah, that was the Apache origin story. Beautiful story. Just freaking beautiful, LOL. Let's see, anybody want Clippity Clop? With large lungs for terrible sounds. I'd make an even fatter walrus. Yeah, they do have terrible sounds. Hi, Scotty boy, how you doing? So that's 2 stories of creation we've done today. And they all have mirrors with pretty much every other creation story we've ever heard. Certain parts are different, but always interesting how we run into these living waters. And, the understanding and the knowledge is pretty much replete throughout them all. So I don't see much difference in many of the creation stories, other than they're told with different understanding in different ways for different civilizations and peoples. Oh yeah, I've heard that, Steve. Oh, they're all dead. I don't know. I don't feel dead. Are we going to be tasked with creation when CRISPR is available to all? I hope not. Although most people are good. There are the occasional psychopaths out there that will do absolutely insane things. You know, like make a creature that wherever it goes, it leaves a trail of fentanyl. So you're walking along and you touch something and it's got a dose of fentanyl or something. You can make a fentanyl slug. There you go. That's one for the crazies out there. Yeah, how would we know if we were reset? You know, that would be the whole point of well, not the whole point, but one of the aspects of it would be that you wouldn't know you were reset. That would be the intention. You wouldn't want anyone to know. I certainly wouldn't if that was my intention, was to reset everyone. A fentanyl slug. That's amazing. Hmm. Yeah, like in tequila. Yeah. Sorry, I didn't think that idea would take off too much. But we were born in this reality, born dead, die to live. It's okay. We were born dead. Well, we were born to die. Really, that would be killer tequila. Yeah, it would be fentanyl tequila. They use fentanyl openly. Wow. How do you use fentanyl? Like, do you take it as a pill? Like, do you smoke it? Like, I know that they put it in drugs and people smoke it and then they get really, really tweaked out. And really, who dies? I don't know. Maybe the soulless, or those who have diminished the light within, maybe. But do they really die? I don't know. I don't think so. Roll around in a big pile. Well, you could go slug licking, Zoe. You could have slug licking parties with fentanyl slugs. Oh, you guys are silly. Here's an article. Mastering cuteness. So I think it's quite the pose so far. Fentanyl is a tranquilizer used for large game. At least that was its original purpose, as far as I understand. He's very sleepy at the moment. So it's potent that the dealers have to use certain types of gloves. Yeah, and the problem is in the blending process. If they don't blend it properly, then somebody gets a larger portion of it, and that'll kill you. So it's when they try to use it to make more drugs, make more heroin or whatever they're using it in. And if you don't blend it properly, like, you can't use like, I don't know, like a ninja to make fentanyl, to make drugs. You've got to use an industrial scale mixer. You've got to use the proper amount of time, proper amount in the mixer. You know a few people that are in drug circles that actually let take fentanyl. Probably Steve, yeah. Yeah, that's right, Beefrin. It's a very strong synthetic opiate. And like they tried with marijuana, they made fake marijuana, and that just caused people to tweak out and have, I think it was seizures it caused, which can eventually, like if you have enough seizures, they will kill you. Right, Scotty boy, like the size of a grain of rice. Just a bit will do you. Yeah, I bet. Probably even less. Yeah, right. Not your everyday's granddaddy's meth lab. Not when you're adding fentanyl, no. Yeah, and you know what bothers me? Well, a lot of it bothers me, but our governments are the ones that bring in drugs. If they wanted to stop it, if they wanted to stop fentanyl from coming in, it would be stopped. It wouldn't be that hard to inspect everything coming in, and they could hire the force to do that. They have the technologies to detect it, but they want it to get in. Right now, we're in the collapse of the Western civilization. So that's what it's leading to. That's why we're going through all this craziness right now. Excuse me, guys, it's donut time. Time for a Timbit. These are Timbits. They're Tim Hortons. It's like an addictive thing to Canadians. So, that's right. They do. A year ago in Kentucky, some little girl went to a Walmart to use the bathroom. Just a user wiped their needle on a tissue paper. It was full of fentanyl. Yeah, I could imagine. And that's something we looked at and I think we may have seen in our viewing a week or two ago. Almost died, I'm not one for drug enforcement. But you can take the fentanyl off the streets, right? In remote viewing, we were looking at the next uh, big attack on us. I saw us being poisoned by something. I thought maybe it could be fentanyl. It's called spice. That stuff's really good. Oh, God. I thought that was a rock. Oh. It's the same shape as my heart, the stone heart. Same thing. Here you go. No. He ate it. This whole drug thing is all about the fifth column. It's been sitting there in the U.S. for 20 plus years. What's the fifth column? Yeah. Clean my plate. I don't mind fentanyl. No, it's too powerful. It's meant for large game, isn't it? I know I should have been part of the class here lately. I've been trying to take care of other mental problems. part of class is helping. Oh, thank you, Steve. I hope you feel better soon. No, Beefy, we won't be doing that. Yeah, they could poison almost anything with fentanyl. Really, you think about that, or some other drug that's very similar. Oh, the press. Yeah, sorry, got my mind on other things. But yeah, uh, fentanyl can be put on almost anything. They are. They're incredibly tasty. These are chocolate glazed, so they see that looks almost the same. There, see, you can see the difference. That's a stone. That's a timbit. That's what they call them, timbits. They are tasty. They're incredibly tasty. Mm. Now I have to go get donuts. Yep. Got you guys. Yeah, they come with sprinkles, and they have a Bieber. And now there's the Justin Bieber donut. He's got his own line of donuts, which is terrible. I haven't tried one, but these are Timbits. So yeah, those are really good. And I don't know if they're laced with fentanyl. I don't think so, but they are rather addictive. Mm. There might be in New York beef Freeman, but it's kind of like Dunkin' Donuts or country style. I think you have those down there. You got sprinkled out. I had my own jar of sprinkles. Sick of sprinkles. Yeah. Anything crazy in the news I should know about other than normal crazy? No, nothing too much, Steve. Everything's kind of cruising along in the States because you guys got an election coming up. We do too. So they're going to try to be nice for a little while until the election's over and all the cheating is done with. Because we use the same voting machines that you guys used in your election, and as we have learned, those things are open to um, fraud. They're open to manipulation. So we got the same problem up here as you guys down there. This election, the liberal government just got just enough to form a government. Um, so they probably cheated that number in, which means that they're probably an illegitimate government just like yours. And we're going to find that over time they're going to take as much control because this is the worldwide agenda. Take control of our speech. We have Bill C11 coming up, which is control over internet and all of your various social media. It's going to cripple any opposition to Justin Trudeau forever, and he will probably enact himself as dictator for life. Not much on that front, Steve-O. The trucker strikes, the strikes are still going on worldwide, but we won't hear about them except for from alternative medias. Um, I went looking for a protest yesterday. They're supposed to do Saturday protests in my city, but they often move. Just a split. You going to go back to your sprinkles? Yeah, we're still. We can't leave the country unless you're Jimmy Jab. You can't travel on a plane or a bus in Canada without it. Sprinkles and mix, right? You never lock down here. Truckers doing their normal thing. Yeah. See, it's weird. Different areas in the States did different things. In Canada, it was kind of a universal thing. Kind of spread out in different times, but they did pretty much the same stuff all over. Donuts. No, don't have those. Um, but the lockdowns are coming. Our politicians have already said that, well, several things, that these lockdowns that we've had were great practice for climate lockdowns, which are coming. And our health minister has said, well, we're not going to abandon the masks and everything because we don't know what's going to happen in the future. But we do. We're pretty good at it. We know that they're probably going to go for more lockdowns. They're going to go for more control, more power. Yes, Steve, we are going to have lockdowns for the climate. They're already beginning it. What they're doing is they're crippling businesses. What they're saying is that businesses will have to start paying overtime at 38 hours. So if you work a 40-hour week, they have to pay you two hours overtime. But what that's going to do is that's going to drive business out of Canada. Or it's going to make part-time society, which is what we had before when they did similar things, taxing the businesses in Canada. We ended up with a part-time system where most employers wouldn't hire full-time employees. They would only hire part-time. So you had to have two jobs to survive. And then what happens is you just can't do it because they never jive properly for your sleep or for your life. And it screws you. It screws everything. It just screws everything. So that's what they're doing because they've already practiced this back in the 80s, I think. It was 80s or 90s. No, 90s. Yeah. No, you wouldn't. I hope you wouldn't. So I think this is the part where we're done with the Norse mythology and we're on to fentanyl and licking them. Keep sleeping things. Yeah, they would be. Are they going to lock down for fentanyl? Probably not. No, of course not. And we're having the same thing as in your area. A lot of the houses in Canada are being bought up by BlackRock. A lot of our property in the past has been bought up by China and Chinese interests. So, yeah, that's how China fits in there. They're also providing the drugs for the drug problem, fentanyl. Okay? So they're making money off our government, sending us fentanyl. So yeah, Canada is really down the rabbit hole pretty far. I don't know, Steve. I don't know if they can do anything. But I have seen videos where you can just refuse. I'm just going across, but that was on in a car. You can still go across in a car. It's whether you get on a plane or not. But the airlines are even fighting back about that. So I don't know if that will stay or not. They really want it to in Canada. Trudeau wants to make us into a dictatorship, much like communist China, very quickly. Freedom cakes. Yeah, let's send. We could send freedom cakes to everyone. I wouldn't do like like they do and I wouldn't put fentanyl in it. Freedom cakes. Churros for peace. There you go. Now keep the fentanyl out of these guys, okay? Yeah, I'm thinking of what products they would use or put a toxin on it or something. Why does China want us dead? Well, we have a nice, pretty land. And they have a lot of people. It'd be awful nice to go and move to a vacation spot, right? Wouldn't it be nice if, every year you could go to a vacation in Florida, your vacation home? Right? That'd be nice. You work in mainland China, but, half of the year you go and live down in Florida or Arizona or someplace you like. Live in the mountains. I have tools that actually work. Remember those seeds they sent to you for free? Yes, exactly. The GMO seeds, right? So people will use them too. What's that be free? They want us dead. Oh my god. I need churros cocaine. You're coming out with some. Okay. I don't know if that comment has anything to do with this. But yeah, those seeds they sent for people for free, right? With the GMO crops that they're trying to spread. Who knows what they're putting in those too, right? Bill Gates is going to buy up all the cropland, and we've got BlackRock buying up all the properties. So everything will be rental pretty soon. They're paying over 20% over asking, and they're actually advertising that on the radio in my area. These real estate companies that are getting 20 to 30% over asking price, and we'll buy if we don't sell. It's just because they already have the sale. They don't have to work for the sale; they have it, and they'll negotiate basically with a firm. They're not even negotiating with another real estate agent, really, and they'll go up to 20, 30% above your asking price. Think they were planted in the ground? Yeah. Various people all over the U.S. and Canada. Yeah, exactly. I don't know what type of crops they were. Do you know that tools that actually work? uh, well, during the Second World War, China was at war with the West. How nice it would be if everyone took responsibility for their own shit. Wouldn't need borders. Yeah, well, they are taking responsibility and they're taking all the profits, right? They're trying to take all the responsibility and decision making out of your hands so that you'll be turned into sheeple, you know. I do remember a story about that, Zoe J. Yeah. They were sending seeds out. People were receiving random packages of seeds. I don't know what they were for, though. Yeah, I never found out either. They just said seeds, right? So who knows what kind of crops they were. ricin if they're from China. Yeah, yeah. Major rice producer. Ricin comes from castor oil, from the castor bean. If you can get a few hundred gallons of castor oil, you can distill it down into ricin. I think that's the chemical used, the product used to make ricin. That's what I've heard, Steve-O, that they don't need us anymore. They built all the infrastructure they need. They built Astana. Have you guys seen Astana? That's an amazing place. Let's look at Astana. Nuru Sultana. Guess where it's located, guys? In central Kazakhstan. The Khazarians. Let's take a look at Astana and see what the elites have in store for themselves. In a world where we don't exist. See this place? Look at it. And there's tons of symbology in this place. Sacred symbology. Here's a bird, the firebird, headed towards a pyramid. It's just an amazing place. Look at these buildings. Old world-looking Tatarian, intermixed with futuristic steel and gold. Here's the world's biggest tent. Just look at this place. Every bit of it laid out. The sacred geometry, symbology, even the parks. Just a world-class city you couldn't imagine. I'll watch this part there. Kazakhstan's bling bling, absolutely, Zoe. Yep, world's biggest circuit tent for the world's biggest circus. Yeah. New world capital? Maybe, B. Freeman. Maybe after they destroy everything else. 420 in America, at least in Kentucky. All right, I'll join in. This is in Kazakhstan. This city is Astana. Nuru, what is it? Let's see here. Astana. It is in Kazakhstan. What do they call it? Nuru Sultana. So the new sultan. Let's look in Wikipedia and see what they say about that. Nuru Sultana. Hey, Paula, if you're there, you might want to look in your etymology programs on Nuru Sultana and Astana. That's what it's called. Nuru Sultana. Let's go forward. Somebody's flagging me here. Okay. So Nuru Sultana, Astana in Kazakhstan. It is a beautiful city. Let's look up a few more images. I have seen some overhead views of this, such as this one, right? Look at that. Like you see the beautiful tower, but then they put beauty all around it. Look at the park. It's just a park around it. I do like that image with the bird. That's beautiful. The water bird. It even has fountains up all the edge. You can see the circuit board setup of the ancient cities too. How it looks like a circuit board. This, yeah, there's a good overhead of one of the structures. Close up of their gardens. Beautiful buildings, illuminated. And I wonder if this is like, where was it? That place they built all the sandbars. They were allowed, and I'm sure they did it in this place, technologies like lights that would never fail or had like an extended life of like 20 years, 30 years. That's just a light bulb. You know, what other technologies are they allowed to use in this place? Because this place is lit up like a Christmas tree, right? So they're using immense, massive amounts of lighting technology. But I know for sure it's not the same technology that we have. They're allowed better tech. Such as like in Russia, you can't build in Russia a refrigerator that doesn't last for 25 years at least. That's just pre-built into the system. You know, our system, a light bulb will last a year, whereas you could build one that was infinite, that would last forever. But under our disposable model that they set up, that they're now blaming you for, because you're using up all the resources, because you built disposable stuff. Well, I didn't build it, you guys did. You built all the disposable stuff when you knew how to build things that would last forever. But that didn't fit your model. It wasn't my model. I'm not the polluter, you are. Kind of like me. They say everyone used to speak. Yeah, they were talking about that as well. In the, what was it? The Apache creation story. The Apache creation story. They talked of us using one language. Hi, Marlena. How are you doing? Those gold towers were legit, right? Perfect timing. Yeah, you can go back and hear a couple of the creation stories, Marlena. If you want to replay, we did the Norse creation story and we did the Apache creation story. A lot of correlations between the two. So they are the creation story, right? Well, we got onto Astana for some reason. I love Astana. I love looking at these images. They're just incredible. Look at this, practically the Hagia Sophia recreated pretty much in Astana. Here it is, lit up at night. Just incredible. Look at the lights. You know, and they're not using lights like we have, for sure. Right? Look at all of it. Even on top of this ceiling here, every square foot, well, every meter or so has a light. Crazy stuff. Look at this tower. My God. Every part of this city is just beautiful. Every single part of it. And here we go. So, did you need any more proof or any more evidence to say that this is the city for the rulers? There's the ruler. There's the ruler right there. You guys get it? I do. Isn't that amazing, eh? They just put it right out there. See, even this layout of this fountain they use for symbology. It's all symbology to them. Everything. Numberology, symbology. Look at this place. This has just been staying there. Oh, here's a black magic ritual they did. In Kazakhstan, a World Expo is all about energy and dancing. Yeah, our energy, right? Whose energy is it about? Ours. I like to see how they're constructed, yeah. Mhm. Built on the blood of the innocent, absolutely. They're monuments to the world. They're definitely James. So we cool now. They left and came back this morning. You cool now? Okay. We had a little bit of a run in last night. Yeah, absolutely, Scotty boy. These people are criminals. They're all criminals. They do insider trading. They cheat us. Do you think these buildings before the flood? No, I don't think so. Maybe some of them more later. Itty bitty little gods, yeah, built on the rituals and spell. It's so blatant, right, B. Freeman? I like the curvy architecture more than the square stuff. We can all use hocus pocus, I don't mean. You don't know anything about Kazakhstan? Well, you should take a look, and I think we will. Hey, Paul from Newcastle, how you doing? Good to see you. Let's take a look where Kazakhstan is. Maybe that'll give us some more clues. I've known about Astana for many years, and it's been a huge concern. Where do they get the money to build that thing? Right? Let's see, close that. Nuru Sultana. There it is. Let's add the layer. Get the overview. So first of all, let's look where it is. It's right above China, between China and Russia. In the Caucasus Mountains. Which mountains would those be? Let's see. Let's take a look in. See what's going on here. Wow, it's big. And it's in the middle of nowhere. I'm going to take a look around it first. You're seeing croplands, water. We've looked here before. I think we found some pretty interesting structures. What are these? Look at this hole. Why do they have such a big hole? Looks like it's a pond, maybe, but I don't know. What are these structures here? We found some various strange anomalies in this town on the outskirts. It does look like there was an ancient civilization here. We can see in the landscape remnants of old footprints, or look like maybe old footprints. So let's look at the city for a minute. There was something strange over here the last time we looked at the star. Let's look at the city center. Let's see if we can't find the symbology that they're using. Oh, we have amazing shapes everywhere. Nice grid pattern. Sorry. Back out a bit. Eurasia Shopping Mall. Look at this, a pyramid shape. Let's go looking at that. Just had to stick that in for no real reason. There we go. Look at this part. Palace of Peace and Reconciliation. Let's go take a look at that. So it's a great big pyramid. Beautiful. Kazakhstan, Museum of the Republic of Kazakhstan. And I wonder if their museums are like, oh, there we go. Palace of Independence. Civitath Palace of Creativity. Wow. Monument Kazakhstan, Eli. Kazakh, Eli. Or maybe El. Look at the grid underneath that. Palace of Peace. Oh, wow. I wonder what angle that's on. I wonder if that's a 23rd degree or 33. Look at this beautiful thing down here. That's the bird we were looking at with the fountains making up the feathers. Incredible. Just incredible. The Ashim River. Very nice. Presidential Palace. Let's see what that looks like. Beautiful. All you Canadians should. Yeah, I agree. Yeah, I don't want to go for climate lockdowns. Is the pic supposed to be? Oh, I'm sorry, I didn't even know. That's my fault. I got so excited looking at it that I wasn't on maps. Okay, can you see that now? Yes. Okay. My bad. So we were looking at the bird with the fountains coming out and creating it. Right here, the phoenix, they call it, as I thought they might. So this is the phoenix rising, coming up to the pyramids. Here's the Palace of Peace. I'll go over all this again, guys. So the Palace of Peace and Reconciliation for all the evil deeds they did to create this city, I think. Monument of Kazakhstan. Let's get that to pull up. You can see it's a big tower. Look at this. This looks like a sperm almost. What is that? See that? Looks like a wall of peace, they call it. It looks like a sperm. Civitath Palace of Creativity. Just amazing buildings. And look at the grid work everywhere. Palace of Independence. People are just Gotsugarvitini Akademinsky. So it's a school. Wow. And you just follow their lines and you can see, oh wow, where they're going. They're going to continue building. They've already probably predestined this land for construction, and this land over here. And all these little holes all over the landscape are amazing. And here we can see older construction, layouts for older cities in the landscape. See all the straight lines and remnants of walls. Some fresher over here. Wow, what a place. Let's see what you guys are saying. Why are they glowing in green suits and dancing? It's a ceremony. Let me catch up to you guys for a second. We're on to churros. Okay, forgot to share. Yeah. I like the Phoenix. Started an hour, no notification. Yeah, they often do that to me. Let's go back. So we can see the layout of the city is done in a real Masonic way with all of their symbology. Oh, here we go. What's this up here? Land or something? Probably fruit trees. It's just an amazing place, and this could be where the New World Order goes to when they do after they destroy everything else. So it's in Kazakhstan. It's a Masonic city, as we saw. It's alluring in that dark, hidden way, yeah. So why do we think Kazakhstan is bad? I don't think it's not the city itself is not bad, but it's a Masonic city, as we saw while going through the images of Kazakhstan. We saw the square and compass of the Mason. We've seen the pyramid. All the ancient symbology is there. And it looks like one giant computer. Yes, it does. So this again would be in Kazakhstan, the home of the Khazarians. Right? That's where they came from. So will they, neutron bomb that city and move the new population in? I don't know. Just the people that make that city. But yeah, it's really beautiful. Like intended temptation. Hell bent on revenge and their god, the dark Sith. Yeah. You should be there, yeah. Where's that place geographically located? It's just between. So we're looking at Kazakhstan right here. Let's see what we have here. It's right under Russia. Could be a part of Russia. So yeah, because the mountains are along here. So it's its own country, it says, beside Mongolia, also right beside the Ukraine. And Russia separates the Ukraine from Kazakhstan. Very interesting. What's that river over there? The Volga. It's not beside the Volga. Wow, stuff. It's not. Is that an open pit to magma? What is that? Do you know, guys? Here we have Elton. El Ton. Oh my goodness. The symbology. It's El. City of El. That's incredible. Let's see what they have. What's this building? Look at that place out in the middle of nowhere. Wow. Look at the circles scried into the landscape, too. Ancient civilizations, definitely. Oh, look at that. This place is old. And what the hell is that? Is that a lake? It won't give me a pop-up of it. Let's see what we can do here. Okay, it looks like a lake. We are in Elton. What is that thing? Okay, it's a lake. Looks like it's a frozen lake, like a glacier. Okay. I see now. Or it's a salt lake or something. Is that a salt flat? That could be. Look at this. It's kind of bizarre. And it goes out to a field of white. Absolutely amazing. What do we got here? I wonder what body part that is. That looks like it could be a body part of Tiamat. It's so large. Maybe a pimple? I don't know. There's other lakes too. But Kazakhstan, it's between, and we never hear about that country in the news, do we? Kazakhstan, between the Mongolia and the Ukraine, and Turkey. Turkmenistan, they're calling it right now. Very central to certainly the Asian continent. Look at that, eh? That's on the back of the dragon. Wasn't you, Scotty Boy, wishing you could ride the dragon? Maybe these people are literally going to ride this dragon through the next reset up in Kazakhstan. It's in the mountains on the hump of the dragon's back. That's beautiful. That's good. I like it. Because this is a high place. Let's see. Check something online here. So it's in between Russia and China, Mongolia, Ukraine, and Turkey. So if all the world leaders of that area wanted to go somewhere to ride out the next apocalypse, maybe that would be where they go. Most of the country lies 200 to 300 meters, 660 to 950 feet above sea level. That's actually quite high. That's much higher than I am. I'm 143 meters. But Kazakhstan's Caspian shore includes some of the lowest levels on Earth. Interesting. People ask, is Kazakhstan flat? Kazakhstan is so unremittingly flat. Huh. As if some giant plaster skimmed the land. Really? That's amazing. Maybe that was a weapon used on it or something. Uzbekistan, in the area. Kazakhstan, right here, on a very flat plain, as if somebody had plastered it. Very, very telling. Here's Darezhinsky. Let's see what Darezhinsky is. 100,000 photos. Let's take a look. Beautiful. Okay. Interesting place. Again, ancient civilization, signs of it everywhere. Just everywhere. Look at that. All that land, all this. See what we have here. Some ancient structure, possibly. Circle structure of some sort. This looks like cropland to the right. But quite possibly some ancient structures under here as well. A rather squarish looking place. Cropland again, maybe. Very rocky area. Just seemed like a gypsy desert land until today. It's not telling if your ID is right. No. John playing with maps. Yeah. That's what I was thinking, Marlena, a great deluge. But yeah, maybe they figure they can ride it out there, or whatever type of event they may have planned. Riding the dragon through the apocalypse sounds like exactly like one of their plans, B. Freeman says. Yeah, I think symbolically, wouldn't they just want to do that? Remember Never Ending Story riding the dragon, the white dragon? You know, that was one of their stories, right? I haven't had a jelly bean in years. It's WikiLeaks on Kazakhstan. Let's take a look. Okay, open up another tab. Catch that. Let's see where that is. See that on YouTube. Why can't I see that on YouTube? Okay, so there we go. I was there at one point. Officially, the Republic of Kazakhstan is a transcontinental country located mainly in Central Asia and partly in Eastern Europe. It borders Russia in the north, west, China in the east, Kyrgyzstan, Uzbekistan, and Turkmenistan in the south. Capital is Nur Sultana, formerly known as Astana. So New Sultana, the new leader, new head honcho. Copy. Was that country's previous capital until 1997. The world's largest landlocked country, the world's largest Muslim majority country by land area, and the ninth largest country in the world. Interesting, the number. It has a population of 19 million and one of the lowest population densities in the world, making it perfect to move into. It had fewer than 6 people per square kilometer. 15 people per square mile. Kazakhstan is the dominant nation in Central Asia economically and politically. Gee, I wonder how that happened. Generating 60% of the region's GDP, primarily through its oil and gas industry. It also has vast mineral resources. It's officially a democratic, secular, unitary constitutional republic with a diverse cultural heritage. Member of the United Nations, WTO, CIS, Shanghai Corporation, Eurasian Economic Union, and a bunch of other people I don't know. A bunch of other organizations. Probably all, well, yeah, they're all NGOs meant to help with the enslavement of mankind. The territory of Kazakhstan has historically been inhabited by Nordic groups and empires. In antiquity, the nomadic Scythians inhabited the land, and the Persian Achaemenid Empire, Achaemenid, I can't say that word very well, expanded towards the south territory of the modern country. Turkic nomads who trace their ancestry to many Turkish states, such as the first and second Turkish Khaganates, okay, have inhabited the countries starting from the 6th century. In the 13th century, the territory was subjugated by the Mongol Empire. Under Genghis Khan, in the 15th century, the Kazakh Khanate conquered much of that land that would later form the territories of modern Kazakhstan. So, rich history in there. Interesting that the Scythians were in there. So yeah, that's Kazakhstan. What time is it, guys? It's 5 o'clock. Close down a few of these. So no mountains really is claimed in Kazakhstan. Mostly a flat area. Very interesting. Maybe it was mined, or maybe something was done there, like in the mountains of Peru, where that mountaintop was sheared right off. Right? Who knows? But yeah, riding the back of the dragon through the apocalypse. That does seem like something that the elites would do. Oh, thank you, Steve. I'm glad you learned something new. Hear something new. All right, guys. That was a good one. I enjoyed that. I love talking about Kazakhstan. Linked it to the dragon. That was kind of cool. It's right on the back of the dragon. And maybe the elites are going to ride the next apocalypse out in it. Who knows? All right, guys. Until next time, have a great time, great week. See you in class on Friday. Much love to you all. Keep that third eye open. Use your intelligence and your intuition. Bye-bye.